It was a quiet day in the heart of Earth's most secretive military base, deep in the mountains. The place was hidden from the public eye, a forgotten remnant of a time long past. Only a few high-ranking officials knew of its existence. Purpose, long lost to history, was about to be uncovered in a way no one could have imagined. Jack Bennett, a brilliant strategist in his early 30s, sat hunched over a dusty desk in the facility's command room. He was looking at a series of cryptic reports that had come in over the past few days. They weren't like any reports he had seen before. Information didn't seem to belong to any current military operation. It was encrypted, buried under layers of security, but something about it caught Jack's attention. He had been working tirelessly for hours, trying to decode the strange transmission. As he typed the final line of code, a deep mechanical hum filled the room. The large screens before him flickered to life, revealing a set of blueprints, a vast structure unlike anything he had ever seen. It looked ancient but advanced, almost otherworldly. Jack's heart raced as he stared at the screen. This was no ordinary facility. It was the blueprint for a warship, a massive one. Bigger than anything Earth had ever built. This can't be real, Jack muttered to himself. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as he ran more searches. The ship's designation read Titan. It had been designed decades ago, hidden in plain sight, and Jack was the first person to find it. Suddenly, his superior, General Stephen Hayes, entered the room. Jack quickly turned his chair to face the older man who wore a stern expression. "Jack, what's this I hear about an ancient weapon?" General Hayes asked, his voice calm but serious. "I think I've found it, sir," Jack said, pointing to the screen. "A ship, a supercarrier built long ago, hidden away. It's been kept secret probably since the Cold War. But this isn't just any ship. It's far beyond anything we've ever seen, and it's been waiting here right under our noses." The general took a step closer, squinting at the screens.
"Are they saying this is a weapon?"
Hayes asked Jack. Nodded. "Not just a weapon, sir. A fleet. This ship, the Titan, is an autonomous battleship with capabilities far beyond any known technology. It was designed to be the ultimate defense against outside threats. It's been dormant all these years, but now it's activated." Hayes looked at Jack for a moment, his mind racing. "We need to confirm this. All of it, and fast." Two men hurried out of the command room and made their way down to the lower levels of the base. As they walked through dark corridors, Jack could feel the weight of the situation settling on his shoulders. If this was real, if the Titan was still functional, Earth might have a weapon unlike any other in the galaxy. When they reached the hangar bay, the enormous ship was revealed. The Titan loomed in the distance, its massive form hidden beneath the shadows of the base's hangar ceiling. The ship's metallic surface was dull and scratched, evidence of its long years in hiding. Yet even in its current state, it was clear that this was something extraordinary. Hayes turned to Jack, his voice now more serious. "Get her online, Lieutenant. We need to know if this ship can still fight." Jack's heart pounded in his chest. He nodded and immediately began working on the controls. With a few keystrokes, a low hum filled the air, and the hangar lights flickered to life. The AI system in the ship slowly began to activate. A voice echoed from the ship's systems. "Cold and mechanical. Systems online. Power at 10% capacity." Jack's fingers moved swiftly over the panel. "Increase power. I need full diagnostics." The ship's voice responded. "Power increased to 25%. Diagnostics initiated." As the systems began to power up, Jack's mind raced with the possibilities. If the Titan was fully operational, Earth would be able to defend itself against any threat, alien or otherwise. But there was something else. Something more pressing that Jack couldn't shake off. As he worked, an alert suddenly popped up on the screen. A transmission was incoming. Jack's heart skipped a beat as he read the source. The signal came from an unknown fleet. "It wasn't human, sir. You need to see this," Jack called over his shoulder, his voice shaking with disbelief. "General." Hayes walked over, peering at the screen. The transmission was encrypted, but the source was unmistakable. A fleet of warships was moving toward Earth. "Where are they coming from?" Hayes asked, his voice tense. "Galactic Empire," Jack said, the words barely leaving his lips. "Found us." The general's expression darkened. "We've got no time. Activate the Titan now." The AI's voice chimed in, its tone almost eager. "All systems online. Weapons ready." Jack and Hayes exchanged a look. What? The time for secrets was over. The Titan was Earth's last hope. Outside, the skies began to darken. Earth had just made its first move in a game it didn't even know was being played. The air was thick with tension as Jack and General Hayes stood in the command room, watching the massive screens that displayed the incoming fleet. The ships, distant and yet growing closer with every passing second, were unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Their dark, sleek shapes gleamed with deadly intent. Jack's mind raced. He couldn't believe it. The Galactic Empire, the same alien force responsible for countless destruction across the galaxy, was now headed for Earth. The planet had been peaceful, isolated from the cosmic war that raged beyond its borders. But now, it seemed Earth was about to be dragged into the galaxy's most dangerous conflict. "We don't have much time," Hayes said, his voice tight with urgency. "Jack, you're our best hope. Can you get the Titan fully operational before they arrive?" Jack turned to the ship's systems. He wasn't sure, but there was no choice. This was Earth's one shot at survival. If the Titan could still fight, then it would be the only thing standing between Earth and the might of the Empire. Jack took a deep breath. His fingers danced across the control panel, activating more of the ship's systems. The low hum from earlier grew louder as the Supercarrier slowly powered up. It was a strange feeling knowing that this ship, this enormous war machine, had been hidden away for decades. It was as if it had been waiting for this exact moment in time. Ship's AI spoke again, its cold voice echoing through the room. "Systems online. Weapons systems at 40% capacity." "Increase power," Jack ordered, his voice steady despite the tension that hung in the air. "Bring everything online." The AI responded. Power increased to 60%. Diagnostics complete. "All systems are operational." Jack allowed himself a brief moment of relief. The Titan was waking up. It was still a long way from being ready, but at least it was functioning. As the AI continued to activate various systems, Jack quickly moved to the weapons controls. "Get us a live feed on their fleet," Hayes instructed, his eyes never leaving the screen. Jack nodded and tapped a few keys. A moment later, the screens switched to an overhead view of the incoming fleet. The ships were massive, each one more than twice the size of any known Earth vessel. They moved with precision, each one maintaining perfect formation. It was clear that the Empire wasn't here for peace. "They'll be here in under 15 minutes, Jack said, his voice grim. "We need to move fast. Do whatever it takes," Hayes replied. "We're all counting on you." Jack worked quickly, his mind focused entirely on the task at hand. His hands moved as if they knew exactly what to do, guided by years of training and instinct. The Titan was built to be a warship, not just a ship. It was a mobile fortress, capable of wiping out entire fleets with a single strike. Weapon systems at 80%, the AI reported. Shield generators activated. Cloaking systems ready. Jack's heart skipped a beat. The ship was nearly ready, and it was unlike anything he had ever seen. The level of power at his fingertips was overwhelming, but there was something else. The Titan was more than just a ship. It had an almost sentient quality to it, as if it had a mind of its own. Jack stared at the control panel. "Activate cloaking," he ordered. A soft flicker ran through the ship as it disappeared from view, its massive form hidden from the enemy's sensors. "Cloaking engaged," the AI confirmed. "We are now invisible to enemy radar." The general nodded in approval. "Good work, Jack. Now let's see if this ship can hold its own." "Let's hope we don't have to find out the hard way," Jack muttered under his breath. He knew that this battle was going to be like nothing Earth had ever experienced. If the Titan could hold its ground, then maybe, just maybe, Earth stood a chance. The fleet was getting closer. Jack could see their outline on the horizon now, a vast armada that seemed to stretch endlessly. They were almost within firing range. "Activate the weapons," Hayes said, his voice calm but firm. "We can't wait any longer." Jack's fingers hovered over the control panel. He had the power to destroy entire fleets, but the question was whether Earth was ready to face the consequences of unleashing that kind of force. The Titan's massive cannons powered up, glowing a bright blue as they hummed with energy. The ship was ready. Now, it was up to Jack to decide how to use this power. Jack took a deep breath. "Let's show them what Earth can do," he said. With a single command, he fired the first volley. The cannon's energy blast shot out in a flash of blue light, striking one of the enemy ships. The explosion was enormous, ripping through the enemy's armor and tearing the ship apart. It disintegrated in an instant, debris scattering into space. Hayes stood in awe. Incredible. But Jack didn't have time to celebrate. More ships were coming, and the battle had only just begun. The Titan fired again and again, each shot landing with perfect precision. The enemy fleet was large, but they hadn't anticipated this. They didn't know what hit them. But as the explosions rang out across space, Jack knew that this was only the beginning. The Empire would not stop until they had taken Earth, and the true test of the Titan was yet to come. The warships of the Galactic Empire loomed in the distance, their massive forms filling the void of space. The air was thick with tension in the command room aboard the Titan. Jack and General Hayes stood side by side, eyes fixed on the massive screens displaying the incoming enemy fleet. The countdown had begun. They had seconds no more to act. Jack's heart raced, his fingers moving quickly over the control panel. The Supercarrier Titan was fully armed, cloaked, and ready to strike. But he knew the Empire's fleet wasn't just a group of ships. They were a well-trained military force with years of experience. This would be a fight unlike any Earth had ever faced. "We can't wait any longer," Hayes said, his voice firm. "We have to strike before they make the first move." Jack nodded, taking a deep breath. He knew the risk. If they waited too long, the Empire's firepower would overwhelm them. The Empire's ships were massive and heavily armed, designed for destruction. But the Titan wasn't just any ship. It was designed to outlast anything the galaxy could throw at it. "Lock on to their lead ship," Jack ordered, his voice calm, despite the chaos unfolding around him. The ship's AI responded with a cool, mechanical voice, locking onto target. "Energy levels at 90%. Weapons primed and ready," Fire Jack commanded. The main cannon of the Titan fired with a loud, thunderous crack. The blast shot out like a lightning bolt, lighting up the vastness of space. It hit the lead ship with an explosion so powerful that it sent shockwaves through the fleet. The enemy ship disintegrated in seconds, leaving behind nothing but debris and dust. For a moment, there was silence. "Direct hit," Hayes said, his voice tinged with awe. "We're not just fighting with power, we've got precision." The battle was far from over. The remaining ships in the Empire's fleet quickly adjusted their formation. Closing in on the Titan, they weren't going to let a single strike stop them. The enemy ships fired their weapons in retaliation, launching a barrage of plasma bolts. The blasts flew toward the Titan, but with a flick of a switch, Jack activated the ship's shield systems. A bright blue energy field appeared around the Supercarrier, absorbing the blasts as they collided with the shields. "Shields holding," the AI reported. But Jack knew they couldn't keep up the defense forever. The Empire's ships were coming in fast. They were ready for a full-on assault. "Prepare the secondary weapons," Jack ordered. "We need to break their formation." The Titan's secondary cannons powered up, their barrels glowing with energy. As Jack targeted the next ship, he let out a breath and fired once more. The blast tore through one of the enemy ships, causing it to break apart in a series of fiery explosions. "Two down," Hayes said, a small smile forming on his face. But Jack could see the seriousness in the general's eyes. "We're not out of the woods yet. Keep firing." Gox. Hands moved rapidly across the controls. The next enemy ship was closing in, too close for comfort. Jack didn't hesitate. He launched a barrage of missiles, each one aimed at the vulnerable points in the enemy's defenses. The missiles struck with precision, sending the enemy ship into a spiral of destruction. It exploded moments later, creating a bright flash of light. The fight was intense. The destruction was becoming overwhelming. But the Titan kept going, its advanced weapons cutting through the Empire's fleet like a hot knife through butter. With every strike, Earth's hidden supercarrier showed the power it had been hiding for decades. "For down," Jack said, a determined look on his face. But his mind was already moving ahead to the next challenge. The Empire wasn't backing down. If anything, they were just getting started. "Keep going," Hayes said. "They'll try to regroup. Let's stop them before they have a chance." Next wave of enemy ships came in fast, more aggressive than before. This time they spread out, trying to surround the Titan from all sides. Jack knew the moment had come. If they didn't break through this wave, they might not make it out in one piece. "Activate the secondary cloaking system," Jack ordered. "We need to slip through their defenses." The AI acknowledged the order, and in an instant, the Titan vanished from view, hidden once again by its cloaking device. The Empire's ships fired blindly, not knowing where to target. Jack used this time to reposition the Titan, moving quickly behind the enemy ships. Then, without warning, the Titan reappeared directly behind the Empire's flagship, its cannons aimed squarely at the heart of the enemy ship. "Target locked," the AI confirmed. Jack fired. The blast hit the flagship with a deafening explosion, the force of the shot shaking the entire ship. The flagship shuddered, its systems flickering as the energy from the blast tore through its hull. In a matter of seconds, the flagship was no more. It exploded in a massive fireball, taking out several smaller ships with it, the remaining Empire. Ships scattered in a desperate attempt to escape, but the Titan was not done yet. Jack fired once more, taking out another wave of ships before the rest of the fleet retreated into the darkness of space. "We did it," Hayes said, his voice filled with disbelief. "We actually did it." Jack leaned back in his chair, exhausted but relieved. The first wave of the battle had been won. Earth had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. But Jack knew this was just the beginning. The Empire would not stay away for long. The Titan would have to face many more battles before Earth could truly claim victory. But for now, Earth had a reason to hope. The battle had raged for hours, and the initial shockwave of Earth's victory had slowly begun to fade. Jack sat at the control panel, his eyes fixed on the flashing readouts. The Empire's fleet was retreating, but Jack knew better than to think. It was over. The Empire was not a force that would simply back down. "They'll regroup," General Hayes said, his voice low and tense. "We've dealt a blow, but they won't be gone for long." Jack nodded, his fingers moving quickly over the controls. The Titan had done its job. It had struck hard and it had struck fast. But Jack could already sense the shift in the enemy's strategy. The remaining Imperial ships were beginning to form new patterns, adapting to the Titan's unpredictability. "Enemy fleet moving into position," the ship's AI reported coldly. "They are preparing for a counterattack. Its estimated time until engagement, 15 minutes. Jack's pulse quickened. They were getting ready for another wave. Earth's hidden supercarrier had surprised them once, but now the Empire would use everything in their arsenal to finish the job. "We need to stay ahead of them," Jack muttered, his voice firm. "Activate the auxiliary shields. We're going to need more protection." The AI acknowledged the order, and a low hum filled the ship as additional shield layers engaged. Jack knew that the Empire would not make the same mistake again. They would come prepared, and they would come with more force. "Jack, I need you to think fast," Hayes said, stepping closer. "If they come at us with everything they've got, can we survive?" Jack paused for a moment. It was a good question. Earth had only one supercarrier, and while the Titan was powerful, it was still one ship against an entire fleet. There was no guarantee they could withstand a full-on assault. But Jack wasn't about to give up. He'd already seen what this ship was capable of, and he was determined to see it through. "We'll do what we've been doing," Jack said, his voice steady. "We hit them hard and we hit them fast." As the minutes passed, the tension in the air grew. Jack's eyes never left the screens, watching as the Empire's fleet slowly closed in, adjusting its formation. This time they were coming in tighter, more organized. The element of surprise was gone. Enemy ships at full speed, the AI reported. Brace for impact. Jack's fingers danced over the control panel. The Titan was cloaked, hidden from view, but he knew that wouldn't last forever. He needed to strike first. He needed to create chaos, to throw the Empire off balance. Activate long-range disruptor cannons, Jack ordered. Aimed for the flagship. The Titan shuddered slightly as its long-range disruptor cannons powered up. These weapons were designed to cripple the most powerful of enemy ships, sending shockwaves through their systems, disabling their weapons, and leaving them vulnerable to follow-up attacks. It was their best shot at taking out the heart of the Empire's fleet. A bright flash of energy shot from the Titan, arcing across the vast expanse of space. The disruptor hit the flagship of the Empire's fleet dead on. The flagship trembled. Under the assault, its shields flickering before collapsing entirely. The energy blast tore through the ship's outer hull, sending massive chunks of debris into the vacuum of space. The Empire's flagship, once the pride of their fleet, was now barely hanging on. Its systems were failing, and it began to drift. Its weapons completely disabled. Yes, Case exclaimed, punching the air in relief. That's the way to do it. But before they could celebrate, the remaining Empire ships fired back. Their weapons were precise, their blasts hot and fast. The Titan's shields absorbed the first few hits, but Jack knew they couldn't keep taking damage forever. Target the enemy's rear vessels, Jack commanded. We need to break their formation completely. The Titan's cannons roared to life once more, firing in rapid succession. The blasts found their targets, striking enemy ships with deadly accuracy. One by one, the Empire's ships were torn apart, their bright explosions lighting up the dark expanse of space. But even as the Titan destroyed ship after ship, Jack knew they couldn't keep this up forever. The Empire's fleet was large and more ships were coming. They couldn't afford to lose the Titan now, when it had already proven its worth. We need to pull back, Hayes said, his tone urgent. The flagship's out of the fight, but there are too many ships left. We need to rethink this. Jack's eyes darted across the screen. The enemy fleet was reforming, but there was one thing they hadn't counted on. The Titan's cloaking system was still fully operational. Jack had been saving it for a moment just like this. Let's give them something to chase, Jack said, his voice suddenly calm, almost detached. We'll fall back, but just a little. Let them think we're retreating, the AI confirmed. The Order and the Titans slowly began to retreat, cloaked and almost invisible against the backdrop of space. The Empire's ships pursued, eager to finish what they'd started. But Jack wasn't retreating. It was luring them into a trap. The enemy ships chased after the Titan, closing the distance. Jack had set a course for a nearby asteroid field, one filled with obstacles and dangers. The Empire's ships were fast, but they didn't have the Titan's agility. The moment the first enemy ship entered the asteroid field, Jack gave the order. Activate evasive maneuvers. Fire at will. The Titan's weapons fired once again, this time at point-blank range. The asteroid field became a deadly weapon. The Empire's ships crashing into asteroids or being destroyed by the relentless fire from the Titan. The trap had worked. The Empire was losing, but Jack knew this wasn't the end. The Empire would learn from its mistakes, and they would come back stronger. The question was, would Earth be ready for them? The battle had raged for what felt like hours, but in truth, it had only been a few days. The Empire, stunned by the power of the Titan, had not expected humanity to fight back so fiercely. Every time they tried to strike Earth's hidden had made sure they felt the cost of their actions. But Jack knew that the Empire was not done yet. They had been pushed back, yes, but not defeated. The fleet had regrouped, and now they were heading toward Earth for a final showdown. The Empire's response had been slow, but now it was like a storm coming, ready to destroy everything in its path. Jack sat in the command center of the Titan, his eyes fixed on the monitor. His mind raced. Earth had dealt several heavy blows to the Empire, but they had only damaged the surface. The real war had yet to come. Jack, General Hayes said, his voice breaking the silence. We've bought ourselves some time, but they won't let up. The Empire is preparing for the final strike. If we don't do something now, we'll lose. Jack turned to face the general. his face grimmed. I know. I've been watching their fleet. They're organizing for a direct attack. It's going to be all or nothing. Hayes leaned in closer, his eyes narrowing. What's the plan? Can the Titan handle another full-on attack? Jack stood, his fingers moving across the control panel. We need to turn the tables on them. We're not just fighting with firepower anymore. The Titan can do things they don't even know exist. Ow. AI's voice echoed through the room. Shield strength at 85%. All systems fully charged. Jack smiled. This is it. We have one shot. The Titan had been designed to do more than just fight. It had been built to change the rules of warfare itself. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated. But now, Earth's greatest weapon was in their hands. If Jack could pull off what he was planning, it wouldn't just stop the Empire, it would change everything. Activate the secondary cloaking system, Jack ordered. Let's keep them guessing, the AI confirmed, and the massive Supercarrier vanished from sight, cloaking itself from the approaching fleet. The Empire's ships, still preparing for the final strike, couldn't detect the Titan. They moved closer, confident that Earth's ship would be sitting in plain view, easy to destroy. But Jack had no intention of letting them find the Titan that easily. This time, they would be the ones caught off guard. We're going to slip right through them, Jack muttered to himself, and we'll hit them where it hurts. The plan was dangerous, but it was the only chance they had. Jack directed the Titan to weave its way through the Empire's fleet using the asteroid fields as cover. As the enemy ships drew closer to Earth's orbit, the Titan would emerge from its cloak, fire everything it had, and disappear before they could retaliate. General, prepare for the final strike, Jack said. This is our last chance to end it. Hayes nodded, his face set with determination. Do what you have to, Jack. We're counting on you. The hours leading up to the attack felt like days. Jack remained in constant communication with his team, monitoring the Empire's fleet as they approached, each minute stretched out, filled with anticipation and nerves. The Titan was ready. Jack was more certain than ever that this was the moment to change everything. Finally, the time came. Target locked, the AI confirmed. Enemy fleet at 100% range. Jack's fingers flew across the console. Gauge. Full power. Fire. The cannons of the Titan roared to life. A massive energy blast shot out, slamming into the lead ship of the Empire's fleet. The explosion was so bright that it could be seen from Earth. It sent shockwaves through the Empire's formation, and before they could react, Jack had the Titan disappear again, vanishing into the dark void of space. One shot, but that was all it took. The Empire's ships scattered, desperately trying to regroup. The Titan appeared once more, hitting a second ship before disappearing into the shadows again. The entire fleet was in disarray. For the first time, they were unsure. Earth had them on the defensive. The next few minutes were a blur. The Titan danced around the enemy ships, appearing and disappearing in the blink of an eye. Each time it struck, another ship was torn apart. The Empire was losing ships faster than they could respond. We've got them, Hayes said, watching the screens as the Empire's forces dwindled. Keep it up, Jack. Don't stop. Now, but Jack wasn't finished. He wasn't about to let the Empire retreat and regroup. This was the time to end it once and for all. The Titan powered up for one final strike. The AI's voice was calm, but full of purpose. All systems at maximum capacity. Weapons primed. Jack looked out into space, his heart racing. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. He had the power to stop the Empire, to change the galaxy's future forever. Now, Jack said, almost whispering. The final shot from the Titan struck the last remaining flagship of the Empire. It was a hit that would go down in history. The ship shattered in a spectacular burst, its massive form crumbling into pieces. With the flagship destroyed, the remaining Empire ships, now leaderless and in disarray, retreated, their morale shattered. The fight was over. Earth had won. The command room erupted into cheers, but Jack remained quiet, his mind still racing. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The Empire would retreat for now, but Jack knew the galaxy had just witnessed something that would change the course of history. As the remaining debris from the destroyed fleet drifted into space, Jack realized something. Earth was no longer just a small, insignificant planet. It had become a force to be reckoned with, and in that moment, the galaxy knew that humanity had a new role to play, a role that would change everything.